businesses, and organizations to promote environmental, economic, and social well-being. Together, the cities of Mobile and Pritchard will become the 21st metropolitan area in the Groundwork network. Groundwork works closely with a variety of agencies and private foundations to leverage funding for local projects. Funding partners in other cities have included the National Park Service, EPA, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Housing and Urban Development, and NASA. As part of the network, Groundwork Mobile will also be able to leverage national funding opportunities directly connected to groundwork, including brownfield remediation, urban river restoration, environmental justice programs, and youth career development opportunities. Groundwork was founded by the National Park Service and the EPA to help raise the capacity of communities to deal with their own environmental challenges. The organization works by bringing together coalitions of nonprofits, government agencies, and community stakeholders, and provide them with the tools and training that is needed to tackle broad environmental challenges such as brownfields, and uses the remediation of these locations to raise the economic and health well-being of local residents. These projects can be large, as the revitalization of urban waterways for nature and community use, to small community-based projects such as the revitalization of vacant lots for community use. Groundwork's most popular programs are targeted at young adults who are engaged as part of the restoration process. Youth are employed in summer conservation corps year-round, environmental positions, and in job training and career development programs. Youth are routinely exposed to environmental science and provided STEM enrichment as they engage in restoration. They are also provided internships on federal lands, such as national parks and wildlife refuge, and provided paid training in historic preservations. So I'm personally inviting each and every one of you to attend our launch this Friday at 4 o'clock at Ben May Library. And thank you, and if you have any questions.
Any questions from Ms. Richardson? I want to thank you for all of you. I know you have been intricately involved with bringing this into fruition. It sounds like a very worthwhile program of impact across our community, and I want to thank you and Ms. Larissa Graham. Pardon my absence on Friday. I'll be out of town, but I certainly look forward to working with the program in any capacity that I can.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is adopted.
Appeals. We have appeal of Jeffrey and Pamela Kent concerning the Architectural Review Board's denial of the application regarding the retention of railing, gate, and planters at 1654 Government Street.
Move to lay over for 1 week.
There was some discussion to lay it over a further period of time.
1 week.
The page is here, so is there a time?
I'll give a date.
Oh, so you need
January 8th.
January 8th. Okay.
Come on, can we get a motion?
Okay, move to lay over January 8th.
Second.
Probably motion and second. We lay over to January 8th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item is laid over.
And if I might for a second, to make certain that our city clerk contacts this applicant and gets verification that they know the date and time and place to be heard. Thank you.
Public hearings. Today's a public hearing to determine if the structures at 2308 Holland Street, 170 4th Avenue, 7530 Tanner Road are public nuisances and ordering them demolished, and 1605 Union Street is a public nuisance and order it secured or demolished.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak in any of these public hearings? If not, the public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Carol Hunter.
Good morning. I'm
Good
Carol
morning.
Hunter with the Downtown Mobile Alliance and Events Mobile. And Councilman Williams, I'm glad I don't have to tell you what I plan to do with the rest of my life, because I don't have a clue. But this morning, on behalf of the Board of Events Mobile, let me first of all thank the City Council and the Mayor and his staff for all of the support and continued commitment you have given to Moon Pie Over Mobile, Mobile's New Year's Eve celebration. This event has become one of the most popular New Year's Eve celebrations in the Central Time Zone. Our hotels and restaurants are filled with customers, and our citizens from every neighborhood in the city are able to come together to celebrate the hope that every new year brings. This would not be possible without your support, and again, thank you very much. Though we are later than normal, and certainly later than we would like to be, Events Mobile will be announcing a stellar lineup of entertainment for this year's celebration tomorrow at 3:30 at the Battle House Hotel. We invite you all to be a part of that announcement. In addition, we'll be to announcing a fabulous headliner. We'll be discussing our partnership this year with the Alabama Bicentennial Commission as one of our primary partners. As you know, the state will be celebrating its official 200th birthday in 2019, and the year-long kickoff will begin right here in downtown Mobile on December 31st. How fitting that Alabama's first city will be the launch of this momentous event. So we hope you'll be with us tomorrow afternoon and certainly on New Year's Eve. And one thing I'd like to do is we have a few members of the Events Mobile Board in attendance. Keisha Davis, Judy Gullich, of course, Fred Richardson, Ricardo Woods. I'd like them to stand because I don't there's no way I can explain to you how important this board is and their commitment to this event. It is an immeasurable amount of time and energy. It's an all-volunteer board that is put into producing this event on behalf of and in partnership with the city. So thank you to the board. Oh, Michonne, I didn't see Michonne come in. Anyway, I want to personally express my thanks to this board and everything that they do, and again to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice President.
Mr. Small?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mrs. Hunter for coming down and addressing the council. I made this request in the past. I'm going to make it again this morning. And I understand budget, and we know that we're going to celebrate what New Year's going to come every year. Same time, same year, same month, same day. But back in September, Las Vegas started announcing, you know, who their headliners was for different hotels. Other places started announcing in October. And this is, you know, December, and we just make an announcement. I understand that the hotels do fill up downtown, but we have hotels in West Mobile, you know, and surrounding areas. And I'm just making a request, and we, you know, you have people that work with the administration on your board, and you know, the board also. But there's something that, you know, the city need to do for next budget year is to double, you know, this event for next year, you know, adopting in the budget, but we can get prepared for, you know, 2020, 2021. But I think that, I know that we need to start announcing this early, because even, you know, I got phone calls, you know, 1st of November, you know, CJ, who's the headliner? I don't know, you know. And this is something that people start planning in advance as in what they're going to do for New Year's. So I'm just going to make another request again, you know, if all possible, to, you know, start announcing earlier. We know that we're going to celebrate in 2020, 21, 22, 23. You know, let's go ahead and put it in the budget before we can go ahead and make announcements, and maybe we can sell out the hotels in West Mobile. Thank you.
Well, that certainly is a goal, Councilman, and with your commitment, then we will begin the process earlier than we have in the past. And as you know, we typically waited until a budget is at least in process. But with a commitment from you, we can begin that earlier, and we'll make that announcement certainly well before this time next year. So thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Geraldine London.
No, I'd like to
Mr.
have a
Richardson.
comment. I would like to have a comment.
Mr. Richardson.
I would just like to appreciate the Moon Pie 18 for coming this morning. We hear you loud and clear, CJ. What happened is that we had a person, a first-class performer that we thought was ready to come. And that person pulled out. And then we had to start the process all over again. But we got one we believe that is more stronger than the first one we had. So it's not gonna slow us down. It's slowing down the announcement, but it's not gonna slow down the fun. I would like to personally invite the mayor and all members of the council to join us tomorrow at 3:30 at the Battle House, where the formal announcement will be made as to who will be performing. But I would just like to ask the question: if you go up and down the Central Time Zone, what city would have a live parade down the middle of the street before midnight? What city would have the world's largest edible moon pie to be cut, and we're going to have a band playing over there? What city going to have a laser light show? You got to go to Stone Mountain, Georgia to see a laser light show. No. You come downtown on New Year's Eve, we're going to have a live laser light show. We're going to have multiple bands performing, and our stellar band going to hit the stage before midnight. Has nothing to do with the dropping the moon pie itself, and one of the finest fireworks shows you can find anywhere. My point is, the event is going to be, we are late making the announcement, but the event is going to be just as powerful. There not be a more energetic New Year's Eve event in the Central Time Zone that can preempt what's going to happen in the city of Mobile on New Year's Eve night. Nothing is going to preempt us.
Ma'am, City Clerk.
Okay. Geraldine London.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Geraldine Russian London. I reside at 1169 Heron Lake Circle, Mobile 36693. I came to the council on several occasions earlier this year on behalf of the Lad People Stadium. I was elated when the council amended the budget to include funding for the stadium. My purpose for speaking to the council today is to inquire about the status of the funding for Ladd Stadium. I believe as of last week, the stadium board had not received any of the funds. The stadium board, has been expecting the funding to move forward with their plans to improve the facility. I am respectfully requesting that the funds be released immediately to the Ladd Stadium People's Board. I certainly appreciate the council for acknowledging the importance of Ladd Stadium to Mobile and surrounding communities. Additionally, I want to commend the council for including funding to address repairs and development of amenities at the stadium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ann Davis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Ann Davis. 967 Westbury Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 36609. Have y'all missed me? I want to tell you that Reverend Brown also planned speaking today, but he's come down with the flu. He gave me a call night before last. But he asked me to tell you to remember that you are the parents and Ladd is one of your children, and you need to take care of your children. He has such a way with words. First, I want to sincerely thank the City Council for having enough confidence in us, as well as realizing the value of Ladd, and that you voted to give us $950,000 from the city's budget. Since this vote, we have worked diligently trying to make good decisions and positive changes for Ladd. First of all, I want all of you to know that we have been working with a certified engineering firm to give us a good estimate of the upgrades needed in relation to the steel and the concrete at the stadium. And I want to stress that we have learned so much working directly with these engineers. And first and foremost is that Ladd Stadium does not have a D+ rating, mainly because it doesn't exist. Grades are only given to engineering firms, highways, roads, and bridges, but not for stadiums. This is because of the many different aspects that come into the grading system. I want to assure y'all that while we do not have a final cost estimate, it takes a long time, it's very detailed, the necessary upgrades are much, much, much lower than has been talked about in the past. And also, most importantly, Ladd is safe. In fact, the engineers told us while Ladd does need repairs, it is in very good shape for its age and lack of proper maintenance. Most of the damage that we do have comes from water leaks that were supposed to have been fixed by the city when the suites were built for South Alabama nearly 10 years ago. I do promise to give each and every one of you and the city a copy of this report as soon as it is totally completed. We did finally receive some paperwork this past Friday from the city, which has been filled out and returned. So we are hopeful that we will receive our contract very soon. And also our quarterly funds in the amount of $237,500. I am also very happy to report the Bowls have now signed their contracts, both Bowls, and they have also paid their rent, which is a huge cause for celebration for us, and it represents a new day for Ladd. Because we are now in a better situation, we have already painted the portals, replaced 200 toilet seats in all of the public restrooms, bought new furniture for the seating area in the lobby, and are now in the process of having both corridors and all the public bathrooms painted. We wanted this done before the Dollar General Bowl so the public could see some cosmetic improvements. As requested by the City Council, we have also secured Blake Smithson of WAS Design Inc. to draw plans for our walking fitness trail, of which $200,000 has been designated by Councilman Manzi for this project since Ladd is in his district. We will be working with him and getting his input as we proceed. But I also have some handouts for you that'll give you a better idea of our direction. WAC has also done many projects for the city, such as the Premier Park, the Medal of Honor. Anyway, I'll hurry. The Michigan group is also busy seeking new funds for Ladd, and one thing we're really hopeful about is the contract we just signed with the Alliance of American Football League. And there will be 8 games played at Ladd this coming spring, with the option of increasing this contract for additional 4 years. This past year, there has been several negative remarks and opinions concerning the future of Ladd, and our image has taken quite a hit. In spite of this, we know that there are many people who support and care about Ladd, and who also realize the historical impact that it has had on our community. Our citizens look to you, our community leaders, for their guidance. So I want to thank you again for your support and ask you to respectfully please get our funds to us in a timely manner. In closing, I also want to extend an invitation to all of you to come to Ladd for some Christmas dessert with our board members on Monday, December 17th at 1 o'clock. We'd love an opportunity to socialize and also show off some of our improvements.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Small?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Ms. Davis and Ms. London for coming down on this morning. So you have received paperwork, you said, about your funding?
We received paperwork on Friday that, that asked for a list of all of the events that we have at LAD. I'm thinking this has been done before. Our general manager filled it out and just sent it back in, but we haven't received our contract. But at least this is good. We've received something, so we know they know we're out there waiting.
Okay, and I guess I would like to ask a question to the administration. You know, if when it's possible that the last stadium board will receive its funding?
I'd be happy to answer that question. The answer may be a little bit longer than what you anticipate, but in the interest of full disclosure and answering your question fully, I'd like to have the opportunity to fully address the question. We are talking really about the $750,000 that is in addition to the $200,000 that LAD has received under individual annual performance contracts for a number of years now. There are several reasons why the administration will not process the $750,000 additional performance contract today to enable the LAD board to administer the public works capital projects on the LAD property. Some of what I'm going to say is very hard to say, but I want to make sure that you fully understand the mayor's position and the administration's position in this. First, yes.
Before you, does anyone else have anything to ask Ms. Davis?
I don't have anything to ask her, but before she sits down, if I could just have the floor for a second, just to thank her for her diligence and also to thank your board.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The work is also a voluntary board.
Thank you.
So thank you.
So
yeah, just one more thing, Vice President. Ms. Davis also stated about it was no such thing as a D rating.
D+.
So who told you this again?
It was in the engineering report that's now over 2 years old that we received from the city. I mean, that's where the D+ came from.
Okay.
But the engineers we're working with, because we kept asking, how do we get a B? How do we get an A? And they're like, there's no such thing as a grading system for a stadium. And I have looked up, they gave me a form of the statutes of engineers and how they grade things, and it's true, there's not. Be happy to give it to you.
For a stadium.
Yes, for a stadium.
So when is your report looking to come out with the results that you all are trying to see for?
Well, I wish I had it yesterday, but the people that we have that are trying to give us an amount on the concrete and then on the steel have also been inundated with the work down in, is it Mexico City, from the storm, the last storm? And so it's taken us a little bit longer. I mean, I'm sorry. If I knew more about it, I'd have it done yesterday, but I'm not a professional in that area.
So you also stated that, I guess you said the engineer that it's not, last stadium is not that bad, or?
What they said is that LAD Stadium is in good shape for its age and neglect, but that it is definitely safe. Let me explain, for instance, they gave us examples like, I remember it was brought out about the lighting, you know, the big lights.
I'm sorry, if you could just answer this question.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give you why it's hard to get it.
Yes,
they told us the lights went through,
right.
they went through Hurricane Frederick. I'm just trying to explain.
I understand that, Ms. Davis.
Okay, I'll tell you after the meeting.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I'd like to hear it out.
I'm just trying to explain why it's difficult. The lights that are in the stadium, the huge lights that we talked about as being dangerous, could fall on someone. Those lights went through Hurricane Frederick. They've been through a lot of storms. They said if we were to have another hurricane with over 100-mile-an-hour winds, perhaps they would be affected. That, in other words, yeah, they need to be reinforced, but this is not something that is dangerous at this time. Does that explain some of the...
Okay. All right.
Can I question, as long as we're on this subject?
Yeah.
Mr. Small, are you finished? Okay. And I'll be brief. Is it possible to get some kind of summary available for the public to see, our offices included, instead of the detailed report that you will need in order to proceed with contractual work?
Yeah, I could...
You could at least ask, maybe?
I could ask, yes. I'd be happy to.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Do you want me to?
I just want, yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay.
And all of y'all's work is so appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. West?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The $750,000 that was amended out of the line item for the legal liability fund was part of a projection by the city's legal department of the expenses for settlements and judgments and actual legal fees and attendant expenses for 2019. That estimate was $2.8 million. So what we did was to pull $750,000 out of that line item, I guess because it was a big line item, to fund the addition to the LAD performance contract. That leaves $2,050,000, which is less than what was spent in 2018, which was a fairly good year for underspending, and less than the $2.8 million that was spent in the previous year, 2017. To the extent that we see the expenses go above what's left in that line item, we have nowhere to get it from. What the mayor's thought is to spend that money early in the year when we might need to ask you to amend that back-end legal liability fund would not be something that we want to do. More importantly, the LAD board was incorporated to manage LAD Stadium on a day-to-day basis, the activities there. The history shows that there had been a private management firm that had managed LAD Stadium and had done a very poor job. So the LAD board was incorporated. A resolution passed by the council stating that the purpose of the board would be limited to management of the stadium. And when the articles were filed, that limitation of purpose was also included. So large capital grant projects are not within the purview of the LAD board. If we were to fix all of that, if the legal liability fund was somehow deemed to be sufficient for what we anticipate that 2019 will look like, and if the LAD board were somehow authorized to proceed with public works projects, then the question is, would it be wise to proceed in the manner that we are proceeding, which is to transfer a large sum of money to a third-party entity to do work that typically the city does. As you may know, the LAD board is exempt from public bid laws. It is not required to comply with any of Alabama state law or SOGB law or any of the resolutions that you've passed in the past that regard how public contracts for design and construction are awarded. In effect, what this will do, and I'm not assigning any intent to this, but in effect, what a transfer of general fund monies for capital improvements does is to circumvent all of the protections that we have in the public awarding of contracts and the administration of public works. We don't know whether the board follows bid laws. We do know that in some minor repair situations in the past, the city did ask them to get multiple bids, and we believe that they probably have. but that there is no day-to-day administrative oversight over this board as they seek to go down the road, our architects and engineers and contractors. We do know that design contracts and construction contracts would not receive the public scrutiny that you give on a weekly basis to contracts that are placed before you. As in the final analysis, the mayor understands the good work that the board has done and that they're continuing to do. The embarrassments that the old boards caused the city on several occasions during the last 10 years are absent from this board's activities, and we certainly all appreciate that. But at this point today, the mayor is using his discretion to not move this $750,000 contract forward.
I have a question.
Mrs.
It's done. Should that have been proposed as an amendment or a veto to a line item in the budget back when we adopted the budget, as opposed to this group now being told that they do not have the volition to proceed with using capital dollars that the city would allocate to them?
Certainly a veto would have been possible, but would have been impractical. As far as what type of legal oversight was given to your amendment, I can't speak to that.
The other thing is that I know this board has done capital work, and I thought the administration had encouraged their independence and ability to not depend on the city as much, and that they prided themselves in trying so hard to get groups to sign contracts that it was not considered an, a in-kind gift or whatever. And they have been very tenacious in dealing with the entities that, go through that facility because of the desire to see that independence. I guess we could turn to our legal counsel. It's probably not the time to do it right now, but I just think that...
I'm interested in hearing from them. I think this is a very appropriate time.
Well, I'm not sure about the idea that the contracts wouldn't come to the public, because I really thought that there were wings from this board that was set up by state law. It goes back to 1983, before we were a council, to my understanding, and I didn't know about any amendments that this council had put on them for not being able to operate, oversee, and initiate capital improvements. I thought that was all part of their charter today.
The statement by Mr. Wesch raises several issues that require additional study to understand the facts and then to fully appreciate the law. I know Mr. Wesch is not an attorney, and I don't expect him to opine on those matters, but if Mr. Woods could provide a written legal opinion to the council as city attorney, giving you legal advice on how he sees the legal liability fund, that would really be helpful, and then maybe we could all get together and figure out a way to get the money to LAD in a legal fashion. That's the only thing I have to say right now.
Mr. Vice President, may I say that my intent was not to blindside Ms. Cochran or to blindside you. It was, since there had been questions that you raised late last week about some performance contracts, we wanted to get this information and this sentiment from the administration in front of you. I'm not suggesting this conversation is over with or that there does not have to be research done by your legal counsel into some of the questions that I raised. Wanted to get it in front of you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Richardson.
I think we've had people coming down here and contacting us for quite a long time regarding not receiving the funding that they were entitled to. No one, we couldn't answer that. We are blindsided because what you're saying now has not been known before. If that's the road you all decide to travel, at least you could have informed us, and we could have told them the reason you are not getting the funding is because thus and so. So if what I understand is that you're not going to give them the funds because you don't think they have the wherewithal to bid the projects off, I believe the council has the authority to give them the power they need. You tell us what power they need, and we would authorize them to have that power. The rule and authority for the city of Mobile is in the hand of the Mobile City Council. So whatever they lack, we have the authority to make sure they can get it. You tell us what they don't have and what you want them to have, and I can assure you we can give them what they need to move forward.
Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Small.
I'd like to thank Mr. West for, acknowledging us, giving us the information, and this comment is not towards Mr. West, but, I don't think he's doing is, doing what his boss tells him to do, which is the mayor. But I just wish that there was more communication from the mayor, to this council and to the board, what was his plans, because the board had plans to do a walking trail and not to just only upgrade the Ladd Stadium, but to upgrade the community. And for him to withhold the money, he's not trying to upgrade this community. And I'm really having some issues dealing with that, because hearing the board saying that Ladd is not in the condition was previously stated. Now the mayor is withholding money not only from the stadium, but from that community. I have some concerns about that. If he had issues with the management company, to me, he should have went to the board and talked to the board about the management company and worked with the board to move contracts forward. But just not saying anything, and we're going to come down here and bring this to the council. I mean, transparency is just not there. And I would just wish that he would have more transparency with us. I mean, we find money for what we find money for. And I believe that we have found money. There is money for Ladd People Stadium. And I'm just have some concerns with the mayor and his actions. Some very deep concerns. Thank you.
Mr. West, let me ask, is this posture that you all are taking relative to Ladd, does that extend to any other performance contractors that received additional resources?
No, it does not.
So that doesn't include VV, it doesn't include any of the other projects that is specifically to Ladd?
Yes.
I have to join my colleagues in saying, we passed the budget the last week of September. This is the first week of December. It's essentially 2 months. And we just had this newspaper article in the left at the front of it with everybody's picture on it but mine, gratefully, that talked about communication. And I'm hopeful that in this new year, the level of communication between this council and the mayor's office, is greatly increased, because we're not going anywhere. The 7 of us will be here. You all will be here. We've got to find a way to work together and to communicate with one another. And this would have been great information to have known. I've had several residents who are extremely excited about finally having a nice walking trail around Ladd Stadium. If you go out there 5, 6 in the morning, there's all kinds of people that are utilizing that space. And we've built walking trails all over this city that are being used. We talk about being one of the most obese. I need to be out there now. And so I'm hopeful that in 2019, we can work together so whoever needs to do whatever they need to do, we can put the resources that have been allocated toward the trail in use so that that walking trail can be built, and that this board would have the opportunity to work on strengthening the cosmetics and aesthetics of Ladd Stadium. Just last week, the bowl game that was held, what was the name of that bowl game? The bowl game that was held, not the Senior Bowl, the Classic, the Fifth Gulf Coast Challenge. It won a national award just last week. So that's vitality left in it, if we don't invest in it, and if we don't keep it up, of course it's going to go down. But if we continue to invest in it, and we've got an interested board of volunteers who spend an inordinate amount of time working through the various issues at Ladd Stadium, I think we ought to give them the opportunity. And if it takes city partnership in order to move the initiatives along, I would hope that the administration would be amenable to partnering with them so that those funds could be expended to continue to repair and upgrade Ladd Stadium.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Richardson.
And Mr. Chairman, I also have a question.
Mr. Richardson and Mrs. Gregory.
My closing remarks on Ladd is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy to make a prediction and then put your own plan in place to make your prediction come true. The mayor announced that he was going to demolish Ladd Stadium. The council said no. Seems to me now he's putting his plan in place to make his own prediction come true. If I don't put that $750,000 in there, Ladd, it'll just fall down. And what I said would be true. I would like for Mr. Wesh to put in writing what he just stated to us. Put it in writing. And I think this council is going to have an obligation to make sure what we say come true. We said we want to have $750,000, then we are obligated to make what we say come true, regardless of what we have to do to make it come true. I don't think anyone has, I don't think no one has the authority to circumvent the action of the council.
Mrs. Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Paul, just a couple of questions. I think just to clarify, that $250,000 that the board annually gets, that's not in question, correct?
Ms. Gregory, that is $200,000, but that's not in question. That's a general fund
that's the
performance contract with the engagement by Ladd to use that in managing the stadium, which they've done.
Right. The question is that extra $750,000 that the council had amended to go toward repairs, and then also the walking trail. But no matter where the money comes from, that doesn't necessarily preclude the city, instead of the board, from doing needed repairs or even the walking trail that Mr. Manzi wants for the community. I know the walking trail was in early discussions prior to the budget. So if there's money available, that wouldn't necessarily preclude us from doing needed repairs, even up to $750,000, if the city was making the repairs.
Yeah, you know, there is a nuance there, Ms. Gregory, and that's that we typically, you know, do capital improvements out of the capital fund. Yeah. But that notwithstanding, obviously the city has engaged in capital improvements at Ladd probably every year or every other year for forever.
Right, but I mean, if the city, rather than the board, decided that $750,000 worth of repairs were needed, then you're saying the city would do it because you're questioning the board's authority to do those repairs.
The city is not precluded from doing capital repairs at Ladd.
Right. And I think the main question here is just the authority. Who has the authority to, does the board have the authority to do it? And I think in some discussions among us up here, it would appear to us, Wanda, to be that the board is set up by the state, authority given to them by the state. So I don't know what authority the council would have one way or the other to give them any sort of authority to do that sort of work.
If what I heard him say was their charter said they were to be a management company, the resolution said there was to be a management question. So that says, well, is that term defined? Does it have any real meaning? Generally, when a company, like in the private sector, when a company is formed, say you form a corporation to run a restaurant. The law says that if you can run a restaurant, you can also run any other legal business. So, so there is a real legal question about is this situation restrictive? And that is indeed a legal question. And I would ask the city attorney, please give us a legal opinion in writing on that point. I think it'd be so helpful.
Mr. Woods, is that something you're willing to do?
Not unless the mayor asks me to do so.
The answer is no.
That makes sense.
Can I ask a question? This board has its own legal counsel that they work with and retain. Perhaps their counsel knows exactly what their directive is, and that would be a good piece of information to share with Ms. Cochran if the mayor does not instruct his counsel. And there's a way to perhaps keep moving forward in a way that we can all be proud of.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Williams?
I just, at this point, I think it'd be great for, if the team that the mayor has assembled as administration could communicate with this entire city what it is that they plan to do and not do, that was directed by the council in the form of amendments at the budget meeting vote. I mean, I think it's just fair.
I agree.
That whatever way y'all, I mean, you can communicate a lot of stuff, and you're really good at it. I'm unclear on what you're going to execute and what you're not going to execute, and at what level, and by what authority. And we've been playing this game too long. And I thought we kind of were making some progress, but I think that every one of the performance contracts that were increased, or if there's going to be any delay, that let's just put it out there. Amendment number 1, we're not doing it. Number 2, we're not doing it. Number 3, we're not doing it. And just down the line. And if I'm not being mean, just a point that I'm a little embarrassed to say that we have passed a budget, and the mayor's not only not going to execute it, he's not even going to transfer money from one account to the other as the amendment directed. That's what I'm reading. And so just to get away from my misunderstanding, as it may be, let's just, if y'all could communicate with us and post it on Facebook, that would be great.
Any other comments or questions? If not, Madam City Clerk.
Barbara Estes.
I don't see him.
Herb Wagner.
I don't see him.
Eddie Irby.
Morning, Council. Eddie Irby, 716 Richard Road, Mobile 36618. We'll try to be brief so we can get out of here. We got things we want to do. So, but we wanted to recognize some city employees that basically bailed us out at the very last minute because something happened at ON we did not know about until 3 days before it happened. And when it happened, the city came through like you would not believe. And I'm going to give you some dates here to remember. December 7th at 9 a.m., we'll have a motorcade from Oaklawn Cemetery to Davis McFadden Veterans Park, now that we have the deed to it, and it'll take place, that flag raising up a 25-foot flagpole will be done at 10 a.m. at Davis McFadden Park. Now we have that. We're going to repeat the same thing at Davis Park that we did at Oaklawn Cemetery with 20-foot flagpoles. However, the 25-foot flagpole is going to be dedicated to Mrs. Maddie T. Blunt. I've been working with the Maddie T. Blunt Alumni Association, and several weeks ago they asked us, have we found her gravesite? We did. They'll clean it off and they take care of it. So we're going to have a plaque put at the base of that pole. They're going to be with us in that motorcade on that Friday morning. Also, I wear the cap of the Tuskegee Airmen 100 Fighter Group this morning because, as most of you know, if you didn't know, we found the remains of Captain Lawrence Dickerson, Tuskegee Airman of the 100th Fighter Group, who was crash landed December the 23rd, 1944. His remains have been found. They have worked up some DNA with the family members. His remains will be buried at Arlington National Cemetery in about 3 months. But that was on the good side. And what led up to the program there at Oakland was Mrs. Cooper called me a couple of weeks ago, and she wanted to reach out to us to make sure that the cemetery was clean. This person that they were bringing in, Mr. Jones, we did not know he was a veteran until the day before, 2 days before. But we met with the family members there. We found out that there were people from 11 different states coming in here, from California to Alaska. And so I went by there Thursday to make sure everything was clean, found out the city had picked up all the trash. However, it was dirty paper and debris all over the street. So as I left to go home, I went through Gloria York Drive there, found two guys there on street sweepers and a dump truck. And so I called Mr. Peavy, told him really would like you to ask those guys would they go over and clean the streets for us, because you know, we don't want those people from other states coming in and having the place embarrassed. The cemetery was clean, the flags were flying. In fact, we told the gentleman that Christopher Neville, when he bring that family in, do not come down Cemetery Lane, because you'll see a good side over there and not see our side. We asked them to bring them down Euclid, because we have flags posted. So as soon as they get to Euclid and Hope Road, the first thing you see when you turn right is all the flag poles. And he did that. But prior to that, we had the Groundwork Mobile come out a few weeks ago, and we had several people walking the neighborhood, messing with people's cars and this sort of thing. These kids, 35 or 40 of them, were new, and we didn't want anything to happen. I called the Mobile Police Department, asked them for a close patrol. They said they were ahead of behind things. So,
Mr. Your time is almost up.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We're going to
right.
So we're going to do two things. Friday, we're going to put two flags up out there, because even though we're putting the American flags up out there, that goes on the grave sites out there, we also want to put these flags that were sent to us, because we have found 7 Jewish members out there from World War I and World War II.
All right.
The 2 policemen that kept guard over us, are they here? Okay. Sergeant Byron Sutherland and Corporal Stephen Chandler. These guys have been working with us and watching over us for quite some time. So we
all right.
Great.
Sure. Thank you.
Sorry, Sergeant Sutherland was on an assignment.
All right.
Okay. And the last one here is your city workers, the public workers. We know they've been given a little hard time, but we had 5 guys on street sweepers that cleaned that place and had it looking just like Government Plaza out there. So we want to recognize him too. Alex Young Jr. See here? Okay.
Ask them all to come. All right. Thank you. Mr. Montgomery. Thank you so much.
Steve Wheeler.
Mr. Wheeler. Right.
Yeah, we will go outside. And Mr. Tommy Ruffin Jr.
Mr. Ruffin Jr.
Okay, we're going to thank you very much, Mr. Vice President and the City Council members. But you know, the guys, when they do something for us, especially at the last minute, when you call them and tell them you want something done, and go out and do it.
They're going to take a picture, Mr.
So,
Thank
But
you.
we'll leave outside so we can finish taking
All
pictures
right.
outside. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Irby, and all of you all who work with Oak Lawn Cemetery. It is certainly appreciated. Thank you. Yes, sir. Keep up the good work.
Michelle Beeman and Deanna DeShanes.
Sir? Sure, Mr. Peavy. My fault. Come on. Mr. Ken, I see you.
This is my favorite one right here.
Okay.
You didn't watch the game evidently.
No, we didn't. Good morning.
Good morning.
Tagging on to what Mr. Irby did, it could have been any of these gentlemen that went out to help clean the area. This is a portion of your street sweeping group. 6 months ago, wasn't nearly this long. The commitment that they make now and the calls that we get from the mayor's office on down of the excitement of seeing the street sweepers back out and dressing the street conditions, which helps the drainage and improves everything within our city. It's making a statement, and these are the people that are really up front. We've got Sinatra Ken here who's stepping in for Roderick Moore today, who's going to introduce everybody, but we want to let you know just how proud we are of the service they provide.
Good morning. My name is Sinatra, I'm supervisor of City Mobile. This is Mr. Ruffin, James Montgomery. This is Mr. Roy, Waylon Richardson, and this is Mr. Jonathan Hunter and Dalton Jernigan.
Great.
And these guys in the sweep department.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Come on, let's come on and get a picture.
Yeah, we did it.
We're running late anyway. Come on. Thank you so much.
They're going to go back and take a picture of
Sure.
Yes, we're happy to do that.
Sure, we're extremely happy to do it. We appreciate all that they do.
Push the chair here again.
I saw one going down Washington Avenue.
We're going to stand behind our chairs.
Thanks so much for that.
Open and kind of stick in.
All right, how's it going?
Yeah, like stand in between. Yeah, like stand you on. Yes, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Get that Auburn shirt up front. So little cheerful.
Sing a little song for the music bowl.
Everybody ready?
Gina, come over. Yeah, okay, there you go.
I was standing my sister.
Great, thank you.
All right.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
This means an awful lot to them personally.
100%. Thank you for all you do. Oh, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, no problem. No problem. Let's give them another big round of applause. They do so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Peavy. Mr. Ken, thank you. Thank all of you. Madam City Clerk.
We have Michelle Beeman and Deanna DeShanes.
Good morning, City Council. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. Dina and I are here representing Heart Gallery, Alabama. We are a statewide nonprofit. We are actually located in Birmingham, but came down here today because we love to find a better partnership with the city of Mobile. We help find homes for children that are in foster care in Alabama, all over Alabama. We've just got done celebrating National Adoption Month, and most of you probably heard Governor Ivey really out there celebrating the 710 children who are fortunate enough to find families from foster care. And today, these are just some children that represent how we do what we do. Heart Gallery is about 14 years old. We have photographed over 1,600 Alabama children, many of which are from Mobile County. Currently, there are about 300 of the 6,000 children are legally free for adoption and do not have a family identified for them. Those are our children. Those are your children. And what we do is we get professional photographers to take these beautiful portraits. These exhibits are shown. We've been here. Actually, in 2013, our exhibit was here in the Government Plaza. It was beautiful, and we love to do that. But we also videotape each child where they're able to share their story, their dreams, and their wishes for a family. These video vignettes are featured on local networks everywhere in the state except for in Mobile. So that is one we would really like to be able to find a partnership here in Mobile where we can we don't typically show children from Mobile where they're from, but we try to help an Alabama child find a home and make sure that individuals in Mobile are aware of children right here in their backyard that are looking for families. This is super important, not just for us and for our community, but for the future of our community. This is our community. We are here today to ask for your support in helping us get the word out, whether it be coming back to Government Plaza, whether it be connecting with a local corporation to help partner with us. One of the things that we've done each year is we've come to the Bay Bears game, and we know that the Bay Bears are now leaving the city. And so that is one of the things that kind of motivated us to come here today to find ways that we can continue this partnership, whether it be at another type of annual event, whether it be at a parade, wherever. We are physically located in Birmingham, so we don't know the city as well, and we really want to make a change. We work really closely with state DHR as well as with Mobile County. They refer their children to us, and we work with them to help them find families for children here in Alabama. One of the other things that we've started is a digital exhibit. This exhibit is on a large screen that we can bring in to places like Government Plaza where it could stay, and we can change it from our offices in Birmingham, and we can show children as they're adopted. They will be removed from the exhibit, and we can add the new children as they're added. We do photo shoots every month, so we have new kids that join us every month. And I would love to give you an opportunity to ask us questions. I know I have just a short period of time, so I was going to leave the floor open for that.
Yeah, I have a question, if that's okay.
Mrs. Rich?
On your TV outlet, do you use like stations, or do you use the Comcast or FCC, available stations for that?
Yeah, so currently our partnership has been mostly with Raycom Media, and there is not a Raycom Media here in Mobile, which has been one of our challenges. Here in Mobile, our biggest supporter or partner has been Fox. And we've worked with them to try to get a feature. We do not pay for those features, so what it is we provide them everything they need. They can use their talent to...
Yeah, Comcast is supposed to return a public service, and since you're a 501c3, I would think that they should be able to work with you. Perhaps, I don't know who the current manager is right now, and they used to be local, but I think they're out of town, but they come in and out of Mobile for Comcast, and that's the one who projects our meetings to the public.
Oh, great.
And so perhaps there's an outlet there for you to show your photographs and your videos on your
that would be
children.
a great idea. Any other questions?
Vice President?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank the young ladies for coming down. Have you all talked to the county of Mobile?
We have. We've been in contact with them.
Okay, because pretty much we pay rent to them for this building, and this is pretty much their building and everything. So, but yeah.
And it really hasn't necessarily been an issue for us. We would like, because of we're a staff of 3 people, we're always looking for ways to partner that will allow us to utilize our resources, I guess, the most. So if we can be here for longer periods of time versus coming every month to change out an exhibit, it'd be great.
Yeah, and I'd like to also thank you for y'all work. Me being partners, in education with schools. I do know there are several students that's in our schools that are in this predicament, and I do thank you all so much for your work. And I'm going to ask the administration also to see, what other outlets could be used, especially since the stadium is, the Bay Bear is about to leave the stadium, because these kids are in our community and this is our future. And I think that's something that the city should look into and everything. And ask the administration, if possible, if they can work with you all with that to spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all so much.
We appreciate you.
We have some brochures here with more information.
Roll Hunt regarding Resolution 21-824, the Beaver traps.
Regarding what now?
Beaver traps. The Beaver trap.
Hello, I'm Ronald Hunt. I reside at 5 North Fulton Street, Mobile, Alabama, 6607. If I look kind of silly here in my Santa hat, it's because I'm going to a Christmas party, so I probably won't be here when you vote on this. But I wanted to briefly discuss the contract with Wayland Wildlife Services, LLC. I've briefly been able to speak to Mr. Peavy, which is the Director of Public Works, about this. And it's a contract that he's inherited. It's not one that he particularly started as the Director of Public Works, but it's a policy to try to help abate flood control or lessen the problems with beavers building dams and creeks along the city and causing problems where there's backages up, where flooding occurs because of this. And I don't think it's a bad idea to have some type of wildlife service managing the waterways and trying to figure out some way to keep the problem from occurring. I provided some information in your email, if you've seen it this morning, from the Alabama Extension about beaver control in Alabama, and I printed out a couple of copies here that I will give to Ms. Carol Lambert to distribute to you. Obviously, they said about 1930 the beaver population was almost extinct in Alabama, but through conservation they've been able to bring it back. And by doing so, it's rebounded a lot that it can almost get to the point that there's too many beavers in the areas, which is why they have these contracts to try to control the animal population so they don't get out of control. Because when a beaver is born, like the male beaver, he eventually goes out and builds his own dam. So if you don't do something about it, they keep building more and more and more and making a bigger problem. So it's obviously something the city needs to be aware of. I just wanted to discuss and ask that perhaps you wait on voting on this and have Mr. Wayland Howell, Randy Wayland Howell, provide some type of documentation to what he's actually doing. The contract that I read doesn't have any stipulation for how he's going to treat the animals, what he's going to do with them, or reporting to the Public Works Department what he's doing. If that's happening, I'm unaware of it. And you would amend the contract so that there's some reporting requirement provided to the city on how many animals they see, how many they capture, how many they kill, how many they relocate, so we have some idea of how big of a problem it is and whether conservation agencies and environmental agencies need to step in and provide some type of redirection for the policies that are going on. I just guess I'd like some type of report what Mr. Randy Wayland Howell is doing with these beavers when he's out there being paid $550 a month to keep the population from getting out of control. I'm going to be going to the Christmas party, so I will probably watch it on YouTube what you do, but I hope you will consider waiting a week and providing some amendments just so that there's some reporting and some greater oversight over what he's doing. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. And I hope you enjoy your Christmas party.
Ordinance is over 64033, rezone property at 916 Church Street from B1 to RB.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
Consent resolutions held over 40-805, declare the structure at 1012 New St. Francis Street a public nuisance and order it demolished.
What's the level 1 week?
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Item is laid over, rather.
Resolutions held over. 21824, authorized contract with Wayland Wildlife Services for beaver removal, animal trapping, $13,200.
So move.
Second. Properly motion is second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
Consent resolutions being introduced for the first time, 03827 through 58839.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 03827 through 58839.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly motion is second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
03827, 828, 829, and 883 are appointing and reappointing Kim Harden to the ARB Board, Stephen Carter to the Mobile Museum of Art Board, Vernon Coleman to the Board of Adjustment, and William Sawyer to the Mobile Civic Center Advisory Board. 31831 and 832 are authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Mobile County District Attorney's Office to partner on the sexual assault kit initiative grant. 31833, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive funding from the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, $21,516.80, no local match. 40834, 835, 836, and 837 are declaring structures at 2308 Holland Street, 170 4th Avenue, 7530 Tanner Road, 1605 Union Street, public nuisances, and ordering them secured or demolished. 58833 and 839 are declaring weeds noxious and authorizing removal of weeds, groups 1587 and 1585.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
CIP resolutions being introduced, 21840 through 21841.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 21840 and 21841.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
21840, authorized contract for commercial diving services for Spring Hill Recreation Center wall repairs. And 21841, authorized contract with J. Payne Organization for Trinity Gardens Park ADA improvements.
So, second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 09842 through 25841. I'm sorry, 851.
These resolutions were left for 1 week by council.
Announcements.
Announcements. Mr. Williams? Mr.
Yes, just want to remind the citizens of District 3, you all sure have received postcards in your mail reminding and about our Christmas program, which is this coming Monday at the Maryvale Elementary School, December the 10th at 6:30 p.m. We're going to have performance by Gilliard Elementary School, Craighead Elementary School, Pillins Middle School, BC Rain High School, and just inviting just the whole community to come out for some fun, entertainment, and to be also merry. Looking to have a very good time. Again, it is this coming Monday, December the 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the Maryvale Elementary School. And don't forget that the Parades of Threes will be rolling on December the 15th from BC Rain to Pillins Middle School. It will be rolling down DIP at 2 o'clock p.m. Not just invited the citizens of District 3, but the citizens throughout Mobile. And I hope everybody had a great week. Thank you, Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we already discussed the moon pie drop this morning, or earlier, but I would just like to ask all the citizens to stay tuned tomorrow evening after 3:30. There will be a major announcement naming the premier performer who will be on stage at Mobile's New Year's Eve moon pie drop. I think you're going to be very excited regarding who this is going to be. We're looking forward to having an outstanding year this year. We've had fog, we've had rain, we've had freezing. So hopefully this is going to be the good year where we have none of those things falling us. So stay tuned tomorrow evening, and we will announce who the main performer will be on the main stage at the New Year's Eve Moon Pie Drop.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Mrs. Rich?
Thank you. I would just like to remind everyone tonight at Bienville Square, the city will be lighting the menorah. I understand that Councilman Richardson will be joining me at 6:30, and so it's a very fun and festive holiday. Please come out part of that event. And also on December 7th, Friday, this coming Friday at 8:30, out at the Senior Center, Connie Hudson Senior Center, there'll be a breakfast that's put on by the district, and I invite everyone to come out who utilizes the center to enjoy those holiday games and fellowship that takes place. Again, that's Friday. Any council member who would also like to be out there would love to have your presence, same with the mayor and his staff. But again, that's Friday at 8:30 at the Connie Hudson Senior Center Holiday Christmas Breakfast. Thank you.
Mrs. Gregory?
Thank you. Before I get to my announcements, I do want to introduce someone who is very special to me. She's been here before. That's my sister, Lori. Lori, stand up. Lori is visiting us from Canada.
Yay, Lori.
Yay. When Lori left Canada, it was 4 degrees. So she is very happy to be in the South. She'll be here through the winter before she heads back. So I'm just happy to have Lori down here with me for the week before I have to take her back over to the Destin area to spend the winter. I know it's a hard job, Lori, but somebody has to do it, right? As far as announcements, I do have my annual Christmas meeting coming up December 10th. That's next Monday night. Or is that Tuesday, Deidre? It's the 10th, next week anyway, at the Mobile Museum of Art. It's at 6 o'clock. Again, as we always do, we collect gifts for the children of Wilmer Hall, and we'll be acknowledging and introducing our first responders who will be there. And for entertainment this year, we have the Mary B. Austin Singers. So it'll be a great evening. A light supper will be served. So postcards have already arrived. Again, the date is December 10th at the Mobile Museum of Art, 6 o'clock p.m., the annual District 7 Christmas party. And I just look forward to seeing everybody there on the 10th.
Thank you, Mrs. Gregory, and we welcome your sister back, one of Charlie's angels. I'm glad that you all are reunited, and hope you have a great time in Destin. I want to start my announcements by wishing all of the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity a wonderful and happy Founders Day. There have been so many prolific brothers that have come through this fraternity that have changed the destiny and course of not only this city, the person of Clinton L. Johnson Sr., but this country. Dr. King, Thurgood Marshall. I could keep you here all day just naming names. So I want to salute, and even though we're at odds, I want to salute my fraternity brother, Ricardo Woods. We're in a disagreement, but we're going to work it out, because that's what alpha men do. And I want to let you all know that. My Christmas meeting, I like that name, my Christmas meeting, it's going to be on December the 17th, 6 o'clock at the Beaver Center. And we'll also be serving a light supper, and we'll have entertainment from various entertainment persons in the district. It's just a great event. It's the greatest Christmas fellowship held by a council person in the history of the city.
No, who happens to represent District 2.
Yeah. I knew that was going to get somebody. So that concludes my announcements. We do have, I need a motion. We need to go into an executive session, and I need a motion to discuss. Come on, tell me what we need to say. What you say?
Litigation.
You say it, Madam Council Attorney.
The motion is to go into executive session to discuss litigation. After the motion is made and seconded, then I will have to make a declaration for the record.
Is there a motion?
I move that. Good. I move that we retire to executive session to discuss litigation. And not return.
Right.
Second.
Been properly motioned and seconded that we would adjourn into executive session, and that we won't come back into regular council session. All in favor?
Aye. I have to do a roll call vote.
That's okay. Before you vote, I have to
Right.
make the declaration.
Make the
I'm Wanda
declaration.
Cochran. I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Alabama. And I have provided the city clerk with the proper set of certification under Alabama law. It is appropriate for you to enter executive session for this purpose.
Let's get a roll call, Madam City Clerk.
Vice President Manzi?
Aye.
Councilman Richardson?
Aye.
Councilman Small?
Aye.
Councilman Williams? Councilman Daves? Councilman Rich?
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
And council members, if we could move expeditiously, it would really be appreciated.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do we have the key? You have the key?
Somebody open it.
Okay, start bringing that key.
Is it open?
No, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Right.
Let's exit through the
basement.